All right, this will be 4 weeks this Saturday since we've been at home, so we're looking forward to that. Thought guys took advantage of the bye week, got healthy, and that showed up on Sunday, so we had a good practice on Sunday, a little longer than we normally have, and we took advantage of a little bit of extra time from the bye week to prepare for that Sunday practice, so that went well. Tomorrow's a big day to get after it and get ready for Arkansas. And just about Arkansas, really good team, really well coached. Coach Pittman does a great job, and big win against BYU. So I think our guys, the energy, the enthusiasm, and then obviously the work we got to put in this week, all need to come together to go out there and have a great game at 11 a.m. on Saturday. So with that, questions?
Raise your hand, I'll call on you. Jason?
Ryan, Jason, Auburn 247. How, health-wise, after a bye week,
Yeah.
how's your team health-wise overall heading into this
I
game?
think we're good. Now, not everybody's fully healthy, but guys will play. And I don't think that's anything uncommon this time of year. I think you got guys that, right, the first day of fall camp is the best they're going to feel. So you're going to have a few bumps and bruises and aches and pains and things like that we have to manage really through the season. Not just this week, but the rest of the season with some of these guys. And, but guys are toughing through it, and they're in there wearing the trainers out. They're getting themselves in the best shape they can. But overall, we'll get some guys back that we didn't have, which will be good, and we'll get those guys back in the mix. And we need that for depth. The one thing about injuries, we only look at it as the players in the game, how it impacts the game, but it really impacts practice. If a guy has to take the 2 reps, he doesn't have somebody to back him up, he's getting double reps, and pretty soon he fatigues, and that's going to cause injury down the road. So getting these guys back and really utilizing that bye week, I think it came at a really good time for us because we had some guys that were banged up. So to get these guys back and get them in the mix this week will help us.
Yeah, Bryan, now after the Ole Miss game, you mentioned that Jackson Dart being a rushing threat from the quarterback position really made their running game overall
Yeah.
difficult to stop. I guess, how are you preparing for another rushing quarterback in Jefferson? I guess, what do you feel are the similarities and differences between Dart and Jefferson and his rushers?
Yeah, well, similarities are both really good players. And Dart did a lot of really good things in that game. I thought their backs ran hard in the last game. They were the ones that produced most of the runs. But Dart was certainly effective against us. KJ, now he's different. Really big, really physical. I think he plays with a lot of poise. And, as far as defending him, you got to tackle him. If he's running the ball, you got to tackle him. You got to have somebody in position to do that, and then overall, you got to be ready for some of the things they do with him. He's not always going to run the ball. He may show that, and he may throw it. They do a good job. I think they're creative on the offensive side with what they do with him. And just his overall physicality, he provides, a different element at the quarterback position. He can throw up and down the field if he chooses to, but then you have somebody as athletic and as big as he is, they're going to utilize him. And so for us, it's just another challenge with the quarterback that's a versatile guy that can do a lot of different things that we have to be ready to go out there and play against him. And then you got to be physical with him. You don't always say it with quarterbacks, but you got to be physical with him and be able to tackle him. But ultimately, just the way they play, you got to play with great eyes on the quarterback and be ready for him to be a scrambler or a threat in the run game. And you got to find a way to stop him.
Guys, we're going to air.com. Hope you enjoyed the bye week a little bit.
I did. Thank you.
Good, I did as well. When you look at where you are with your quarterback situation, where do you see your room overall, and how has Robbie developed?
Yeah, I think improving, still not where we need to be, right? So, and I think, the expectations in that room are really, really high. And I think those guys are working at it. I think they're taking the coaching as far as what they need to do to get better. I think they're taking it upon themselves to be better students of the game and really understand how to prepare yourself week in and week out to be ready to go out there and play against whatever opponent we're playing. The big thing in that room is we got to continue to build on some of the things that we're doing, and then we got to be better, obviously, at number one, taking care of the football. that's what it comes down to in a lot of ways. Overall, I think we're executing for the most part, all right, their assignments and what they need to do at that position, checking, all those things, operating the offense, making plays. Robbie's able to do that, and that's one thing Robbie can do. He can extend plays, he can make plays, he's doing a better job keeping his eyes down the field. He's also a threat in the run game. So he's that dual threat guy that can do a lot of different things. And I think that room understands, what we have to do at that position to be successful. And to me, like, that's what you want to see. You want to see growth, and you want to see things that we may not see it right away as fast as we all want to see it, but we're seeing growth in that room, and we're seeing guys getting better because practice has improved. The effort, the attitude, all the things that you need at that position to be better are showing up out of practice. So ultimately that needs to show up in the game and show up consistently through 4 quarters for us to do what we need to do.
Second row, Ryan.
Coach, it seems like on special teams, kickoff returns have picked up for opponents here lately, and we're kicking high and kind of shallow. Is that by design? And if not, what has been done to address the kick coverage?
Sure, yeah, no, it's not by design. We also kicked one out of bounds too. That creates the stats there as well. So we don't want to kick it out of bounds. We do not want to kick it short. And in our coverage, I think we faced some decent returners, but I also think our coverage needs to be better. That's something that we have addressed. And we take a lot of pride in that. I thought early in the year we were doing a pretty good job. I thought last year we always did a good job on that. And then lately we haven't done a good enough job. And so, whether that's, getting the right people in the right spots, we have to do that as coaches, get the right people and move them around, because you're trying to give your opponent some different looks as well. I did think in the last game, Jarquez was down there twice, and Jarquez is always going to be the first one down, or always going to be one of the first ones down. And there were some questionable, opportunities. Did he get pushed in the back or not? I mean, he had a chance to make some plays. So, one thing on that unit, you got to match somebody's intensity like Jarquez brings. And I thought we did that early on. I didn't think that we've done that the last couple games. So we've addressed it. We certainly recognize it and know that it has to be an area we improve and make sure that, we can win the field position battle, hopefully, by doing a better job in that area.
Jason.
Ryan, the changes on the offensive line the last time out and produced in the run game. Was Jeremiah Wright a guy that earned more time after what you saw from him last
Yeah,
time?
I think so. Yeah, he's getting better. Yesterday's practice too, he was, you get into a groove a little bit, so we got to play. And that's the biggest thing. You don't know, you see it in practice, but a guy has to go out there and play, and then you work through some things as a player, just because of game speed, game tempo, all those things. And I thought yesterday he came out, he practiced really intentional to get better. So absolutely he's earned an opportunity to continue to keep playing. His story, we all know his story, right? From D-line to O-line to D-line to O-line. I mean, he's in the right position now. He knows that, he sees that. We certainly see it. There's no doubt in our mind he's an offensive lineman. That's where he needs to be. He's a guard. He's going to be a good player. And, now we got to build on that this week. And I also think not only as a player, he brings some energy, some emotion, and just competitiveness, I think, up front too, just because of who he is. Like, that's who he is. He's wired that way. He cares tremendously, and he works really hard at it. So I don't see why he wouldn't continue to keep getting more reps and an opportunity to go out there and play again. He did a really good job last game.
Second row, Dave.
Brian, I know you got your kind of snap reaction after the Ole Miss game, but when you were able to go over the film a little more, what were the biggest issues you found with your own run defense in that game?
Kind of the same thing I told you after the game. Really, you don't fit a gap, or if you're not in the right position, that's going to hurt you. All right, and I think that's one area that we got hit on a couple times. I think their quarterback, so those things happen, right? That's their job, is to stop you from doing what you're trying to do, and you got to play that game, and guys have to kind of help you, all right, that are behind the D line, and we missed a few tackles, and then I thought the quarterback was more of a factor, like we said, him pulling it and being a factor in the run game helped with the inside zone and some of the schemes that they were doing. They hit us a couple times on sweeps, but that was on us. We were out of position, and so we could have helped ourselves if you look at the game, we could have helped ourselves by being in better position at times, having a better call at times, and then, you know, the tackling always becomes a factor. And I think, you know, every defensive coordinator and every defensive coach would say that in every game, right? You got to tackle, and their backs are good, right? They were hard to tackle. Those backs are really good players. They made it hard to tackle. I thought we did have guys in position, and they broke tackles. And so that's another area that, you know, you go back to work when you're playing against really good players. You got to bring, all right, your very best, especially tackling in games like that when you got a couple guys that can run the ball like they did. So it's no different. We'll see the same thing this week against Arkansas. Arkansas's O-line is very good, all right, the run game, and their quarterback, and then Sanders, you know, those guys, I mean, they're really good players. So it wasn't much different. It's just now we were able to fine tune it and really pinpoint some of those things, and it's stuff that's come up, all right, in every single game. You just keep working on to get better, but you got to eliminate those explosives, which is what ultimately got us.
To the right, Mark.
Coach, how much potential do you guys have to get better in the final 5 games of the season?
How much potential?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What maybe
Yeah.
particular areas that you
Yeah.
have the most potential to get better at?
Yeah, I think we better. All right, and I know what you're asking. I mean, we have a lot of potential to get better, and that's the great thing, right? That's the motivating thing is when you come back in, you're disappointed, but you really start to dive into and you make it factual, like what happened. All right, it's all fixable, right? Those things are fixable, and when you don't have effort, one of the things that, you know, when you don't have great effort, when guys quit or guys give up, that's a problem, all right? Because that's bigger than a scheme, that's bigger than a coaching point, that's bigger than a drill you can do and all that. And you don't see that, all right? You see guys digging in. They may not get where they need to be, or we didn't put them in the right position to be successful either way. But when you have effort and you have guys out there trying really hard and they practice like they have, and they practice like they did yesterday, there's a lot of potential. And guys that sit in this room, they see that too. We watch the tape. They see it, you know, and when you're sitting there and you're going, okay, you're a lot closer to making that play or making something happen really special right there, and you see that, okay, this is what we got to do. So then it makes you want to prepare harder. It makes you want to go out there and do it even better that week in practice, because you know in the game you can be that much better if we just work on it Tuesday through Friday. So yeah, I mean, every guy on this team has potential. We're developing, all right, every single game. And I say it to our guys all the time, football is a developmental game. All right, every single week you have to be getting better. There's no peaking, right? I mean, you're playing until the very last game, bowl game, championship game, whatever it is. You should be playing your best football. And as a football player, every game you play, you should be playing your best football. You're the most physical you've been. You're the smartest you've been. You had the reps, and the experience now is better than you've ever been. And if you're not thinking like that, you don't get to play this game very long. Some guys, this is it. All right, college will be the last time they ever put on shoulder pads and a helmet. So you want to be at your best every week and maximize it, because you don't get to play this game very long in your life. So a lot of potential. To your point, to your question, we have a long ways to go, and we have a lot of potential to get there.
Goodbyes.
Bryan, just want to check, there are reports that Shaquivas is off the roster. What's the deal with that situation?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah, that was after the Georgia game. Yeah, he's no longer with us.
And then just to follow up, as far as, are there anybody else that's out for the year or anything else? Okay.
Yes, actually, Jordan Ingram is out. So he had a lateral meniscus tear in practice, which was kind of a fluke deal. It was really on a pass catching drill, just kind of landed on it wrong. So he had surgery. He's out. I think it's 3-4 months. So obviously that's season ending for him. You know, everybody else I've told you before, you know, that's been injured. Those guys they're injured still that are out, and other guys are just banged up.
Anything else? All right, Coach.
Okay,
Thank
you
you.
guys have a great